50 boats
heading towards Gaza.
Flotilla heading towards Gaza.
Boats were rapidly heading towards Gaza, carrying 500 people from many countries around the world, including political activists.
I'm not scared of Israel.
We'll keep fighting until we achieve the goal.
And even Hollywood actors were involved.
For the global Sumud Flotilla.
But before arriving in Gaza, these boats were attacked.
Israeli forces intercept and board one of the vessels. Some boats were hit by water cannons and others rammed by Israeli naval vessels.
And as these boats approached Gaza, the Israeli army turned all these boats towards the Israeli city of Ashdod instead of Gaza and arrested them all.
I have been abducted and taken against my will by Israeli forces.
साबिक सेनेटर मुश्ताक अहमद और ग्रेटा थनबर्ग समेत 200 से ज़ायद अफराद गिरफ्तार,
which is causing protests all over the world today. But this is not the first flotilla that Israel has arrested in this way.
The water filters, we carry crutches for the people that have been starving to death.
10 flotillas were arrested in the same way before this.
After the captain of one of the boats in that flotilla.
Where all these flotillas come from, and most importantly, who is the mastermind of these flotillas? This story of the flotilla begins with one man, Michael Sheik of Australia. 20 years ago today, when he first went from Australia to Palestine, and upon reaching there, he was amazed at how Israel had surrounded Gaza from all sides and killed the Palestinians there with hunger and thirst.
These are the faces of hunger in Gaza.
That is why, until he reached Palestine, Michael Sheik started helping the people there and started raising his voice for them all over the world. But when he told the Israeli Prime Minister about all this, he arrested Michael Sheik and imprisoned him in an Israeli prison. Now, Michael Sheik himself says in his interview,
get back into Palestine by going
that prison after leaving, I was only sad about one thing. No matter what happens, Israel will never allow me to come to Palestine again. Michael Sheik sat in his prison and thought.
Israeli jail for a week. You got a lot of time to think.
After thinking, he finally had a brilliant idea. A global flotilla.
Gaza-bound aid flotilla.
A humanitarian flotilla heading for Gaza.
Now an aid flotilla bound for Gaza.
Flotilla is a Spanish word that means a small group of boats. Michael Sheik thought, Israel will not allow me to come to Palestine, but if we gather people from all over the world and go to Palestine in boats, even the father of Israel could not stop us. But if he stopped us, this will spread all over the world and Israel's injustice will be exposed. Now the question is, where did this strange idea come to his mind? Actually, this was not a new idea. But before that, a huge flotilla had already been created. As soon as World War II began, Hitler's power in Germany was growing rapidly. And he was attacking one country after another. And for the first time, it seemed that now, finally, Hitler of Germany was facing his own people. They will bow their knees, which had broken the morale of everyone in the British Empire. Even the British Prime Minister resigned out of fear of Hitler.
The Chamberlain has resigned from the government.
As soon as he resigned, the world situation was about to change, because a new Prime Minister came to the British Empire, whose name was Churchill.
Shall never surrender! They are making war upon you.
But as soon as Churchill became Prime Minister, seeing that his 400,000 troops were standing on the German border, Hitler attacked this army with all his might and surrounded this entire army and started pushing them back. Finally, Hitler pushed them so much that they retreated to a beach. Now Churchill's 400,000 army was completely trapped because Hitler's 800,000 army was standing in front of them, and behind them was only the sea and the air. Seeing this, Churchill started begging America for help. But when America clearly refused his help,
Not possible, I'm afraid.
Churchill was completely disappointed, and he had only one last hope left: the people of his country. Churchill forced everyone to announce that whoever had any boat should take it to the war and rescue our soldiers from there and bring them back, which was a very strange thing. But the British people stood up to their leader's voice and took their boats without weapons. They went to war to save their brothers, and from here the concept of flotilla came for the first time in the world. These ordinary people are in the middle of war and they save their soldiers and bring them back to Britain. In this way, the world's first flotilla saved 350,000 soldiers out of 400,000, which is still called a miracle. That is why now, when Michael Sheikh was sitting in an Israeli prison, the idea of the same flotilla came to his mind. After that, as soon as he was freed, he started working on his same plan and started collecting money from all over the world for the boats of the flotilla. Finally, in 2008, he collected so much money that he filled only 2 boats with food and drinks and set off for Palestine. In this way, he once again entered Palestine against the will of the entire Israeli army and delivered food, clothes, and medicine to the poor people of Palestine. After this first flotilla, the news spread all over the world.
The International Aid Flotilla.
Flotilla of ships has set sail.
And only 2 years later, Michael Sheikh and his companions, this time, they set off for Palestine again with 6 boats carrying 10,000 tons of goods,
Carrying 10 tons of medical equipment and other aid,
in which they had the full support of Turkey's Erdogan. This means that the small idea of a man sitting in prison has now become a global movement, and Israel's oppression was being exposed all over the world. But now Israel could not tolerate this humiliation any longer. So the Israeli army attacked this flotilla.
Navy commandos opened fire unprovoked.
And in these attacks, Israel killed 10 ordinary people.
9 activists died and dozens were injured.
Who had no weapons, so that they would all turn their boats around and flee from here and never come back.
Stabbed. There was even a report of gunfire.
But this flotilla continued to move forward, even after the Israeli attacks. Finally, when Israel could not scare them, it arrested them all, and Israel stole all the goods that were for the poor Palestinians.
Lies within those who initiated.
And sent them all back injured. Now Israel was happy because it felt that no one would have the courage to do such a thing again. But a few years later, another flotilla set off for Palestine. But Israel also arrested them and sent them back, whose after that, another flotilla went, and they were also arrested. And 2 years later, another flotilla went, but the same thing happened to them. But still, the flotillas continued to go towards Palestine. And finally, 2 years ago today, when Israel, the biggest attack on Palestine, was carried out, and Gaza was surrounded from all sides, cutting it off from the rest of the world. Once again, work began on the idea of a flotilla, and 50 countries from all over the world came together to support this flotilla, after which 500 people set off for Palestine in these boats, which always included every major country in the world. But only one country, India, remained behind in joining this flotilla.
Prime Minister Modi, you're a great leader of India and a great world leader.
These boats set off from Barcelona, Spain, and slowly boats joined them, and all of them started moving towards Palestine together. These are not ordinary boats, but they have bedrooms, kitchens, and even washrooms inside. The strange thing is that out of these 500 people, only 30% are Muslims, and the remaining 70% are non-Muslims who are raising their voices against Israel by risking their lives just for humanity. Out of these 500 people, the most people are from an Islamic country, Turkey, and after Turkey, the most people are from non-Muslim countries like Spain, Italy, and France. In this flotilla, 2 people are from Pakistan. There are also some Jews in this flotilla, and the strange thing is that out of the 500 people in this flotilla, there is not a single person from the richest Muslim countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. Some famous people are also part of this flotilla, such as Nelson Mandela's grandson,
our safe passage to
activist and
The story here is about Palestine.
Pakistani Senator Mushtaq, who used to raise his voice for Palestine everywhere in Pakistan, for which he was arrested in Pakistan. And it is said that a policeman had also told him that if you have so much courage, then go to Gaza and help the people, not here. And that is what happened. Now they were moving towards Palestine in these same boats. But as this flotilla approached Gaza, Israel attacked them with its drones.
The flotilla is reported to have come under drone attack.
But still, when these boats continued to move forward, the Israeli army forcibly boarded these boats and captured and arrested all of them. Rather, the Israeli security advisor made them all sit in front and gave them a terrorist. The group was declared. And thus this 10th flotilla could not reach Palestine.
Arrested hundreds of activists on board a pro-Palestine flotilla.
Which makes it seem that this flotilla has no use. But it is not so, because as soon as this flotilla was captured,
forces have intercepted dozens of boats.
Condemn any attacks against the flotilla.
Israel has arrested hundreds of activists.
This news spread like wildfire throughout the world, and protests against Israel started happening all over the world. And the biggest thing is that it is said that planning for the Nicetus flotilla has already started, and if this happens, it will not only be bigger than this, but also the biggest flotilla in history, bigger than the World War, and as long as such people are alive in the world, the oppression of Israel will always be exposed.
The strikes in Gaza continue. Israeli strikes are again rattling Gaza City.